Paul McCartney did not die in the 1960s. That's not true. He transitioned and he became Angela Lansbury. You can't.
I heard he was a clone, bro. I heard he was a clone.
It looks just like Angela Lansbury now. I'm just throwing that out there. So, hi, I'm Jason from MakingStarWars.net, and today we're going to be talking about Star Wars, I promise.
Can we get him into a follow-up of Mrs. Claus? That 90s Santa Claus movie? Yeah, but now it'll be filmed.
Them versus Krampus.
I want him in a big Santa parka, you know.
Yeah. As Santa says, membership has its privileges. Subscribe to the channel and become a channel member. It's a way to support the channel. And as Rob reminded me that I need to remind you, that he needs to remind you, that I will remind you, that he reminded me to remind you. Let the video play through to the end. If you're not doing anything, it helps the thing. It helps the show. Like it and all that jazz. So that way, you know, the channel continues to grow and will continue to. It's
the only way the algorithm will share this channel on other people's stuff, you know. Like, would you like to see? Just hit mute, ignore us, walk away, and let it play right through to the end. You know?
Al Bundy's name is Garithim. Algorithm Bundy.
And he sells donuts. Favorite character in that movie.
That's what I always get when I see it.
Stan Mikita's donuts.
And today it's Revenge of the Sixth. We were gonna do Revenge of the Fifth, but this boomer got tired. I can't lie. I was a little tuckered out after the previous day. You know,
I told you when we were at the 4.5 hour mark, I'm like, we're not doing a show tomorrow, right? You're like, oh no, we're definitely. I'm like, yeah, sure you are. You spoke for 4.5 hours. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, I'll never say I'm not strong enough until I'm not strong enough. I was then tired.
It's like everyone thinks they can do Howard Stern's job. I'm like, that's a 4 or 5 hour show, man. Like, he was doing that every day. Like,
oh, if we get our whack pack going, then I could do it. I could do it with the whack pack. But you just can't do it covering Star Wars, dude. That's impossible. Is it just me, or did like the chat thing get bigger today? Maybe it's because I have the little ticker thing down there going. I don't know. But yeah, Dale, like channel member Dale says, jingle the thumb and click the bell. Thank you. Oh, foreskin in the trailer, not
very much.
The Star Wars Larry. Foreskin. It's gotta be.
Gotta clean under that.
Yeah, speaking of Baymax, he knows how to appeal to the juvenile delinquent in me, and I think it's our mutual love of punk rock. I'm gonna say, and he sent me this picture of there's a new. Is it Figrin Dan or Figrin Dion? Sorry, Figrin Dion. I don't know how you say it. Fingerin is what we're gonna go with.
Well, that's what you do. Huh?
Well, look, this is the new Black Series figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's got dick hands. It's got
webbed though, man. They look like they're webbed.
It's got dicks for fingers, dude. I mean, we just can't deny it. I mean, that is. I was talking to me and Santa and Meg and Baymax were talking the other day. And I was like, you know what? It almost it makes me think that we should start the rumor that the dude who did the Little Mermaid poster with the big dick in the middle, we should start the rumor he also did the sculpt. He finally got back in, got hired, and then he or we could go back. He originally worked on Star Wars, gave the modal nodes all dick hands, got fired from Star Wars, became a visual artist.
No. It's a competition between him and Aura Singh. That's just going to continuously go.
I don't get it because Aura Singh. Oh, she has big long fingers.
Oh yeah.
She has Arsenio Hall fingers. This is dick fingers, though. Remember Arsenio Hall? He'd be like, "I'm Arsenio Hall," and he had like those like long fucking fingers.
But I do now.
No. Oh yeah. It used to be like a joke.
Arsenio's jazz hands.
Yeah, Arsenio definitely.
Look, let's be honest. So that's the dick that birthed Lambhead. So show Dick some respect. You know, like.
Well, do you guys ever put the connection together though? That you can't have jizz music without those dick fingers. Think about it. Jizz music is literally squirting out of these dick fingers, and you don't get it without it. So I see the connection now between the modal nodes, fingers, and jizz. Music.
Okay.
It makes sense.
All right. Yeah, Ben Burt is the father of Jizz Hands.
Yeah.
So you should talk
That's how they pull out them
Ben
deep
about
cuts.
that. Yeah.
So
Deep circumcision.
yeah, and today Star Wars
Can't.
Santa and Meg did a great stream.
about
They
flesh
always do. I almost feel like it's condescending to tell them it's good because it's always good. They have a great dynamic. A little R2 and 3PO esque. Dell Ehrman says rough or smooth. Oh, sorry. I only have rough. Okay,
Yes,
Dell.
are in need of lubrication.
But yeah, so anyways, if you ever wanted an action figure with dick fingers, go ahead and go there. Our next little news bit I want to hit on before we get into is Simone Kessel, who we believe is playing Bell Organa's wife, Bria Organa, in Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, stepmother or adoptive mother of Princess Leia. Lola Thief, if you will, the one who puts Lola in her pocket, takes it back. Well, look at her. On May the 4th, she had this picture on social media, and it's her with
Jimmy Smits.
With TV's Jimmy Smits action figure. We can see by the little price tag thing here, it's a secondhand store purchase. Fake fan, hasn't been a fan since 2005. Fake fan calling it out. I'm kidding. That kind of shit's stupid, and I'm joking. But
prequel hater.
But I mean, I think it's safe to say she had these scenes with Jimmy Smits and probably bought the action figure after she was cast in the part or acted with Jimmy Smits. Maybe it was funny to her, something like that. But obviously, it would be too on the nose to have Bria's figure. But also, it's a different Bria. So maybe she's like, hey, I don't want to throw any shade on somebody whose role I took. But to be fair, that person was a musician, not an actor. And apparently isn't active in the entertainment industry anymore. So they were likely going to have to recast an actor for this role because she actually has scenes with Leia and Belle, and there's you need somebody who's who has the skills. I'm trying to not to. I don't want to insult the musician who played it, but she just held the baby and you know what I mean. She has like 1 or 2 credits on her thing, and this was going to require somebody with a little more gravitas.
It was this or the entire cast as NSYNC as Bria. So pick and choose. Pick and choose your battles.
Yeah.
Joey Fatone, I love you.
But it does seem to in my opinion, it does seem to give a lot of weight to the fact that that's who she's playing and that he's in the series. She probably thought she was being a little bit sneaky and like a little bit. I guarantee you they were not happy.
It's cut footage from Revenge of the Sith.
Someone did not have a fun day yesterday. Guaranteed.
I don't know if they I don't know if they were like mean. They were probably they probably didn't say anything, but hopefully
I always feel like they get that note to the agent. You ever get a note at work where it's like, hey, just trim that shit out, and then it just fucks your whole day up because then you're like, what else am I doing that they're not telling me about?
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever. I hope they didn't but if they do mention it, it's annoying,
Yeah. It's sort of from all of the stuff I've ever heard. It's always sort of like a bit of a no to do the tease stuff. They want to do that. They've thought it through, even though most of the time it's completely fucking irrelevant. But
yeah,
yeah. My friends,
she's already in it though. So
my friends did a few of those posters for, I want to think it was Boba Fett or I can't remember. It was around that time, maybe Disney Plus Day, and they were told, just don't fucking talk about anything. You know what I mean? Even when we release them, don't make a deal out because these fans I had to really warn them. You're gonna just let us handle it. You know what I mean? High five it, retweet it, great. But once you start, don't tease when you're at your desk working on something. Don't do none of that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
It usually backfires. I mean, I'm all for it considering our position in this. Please Never stop people who get the job. But I mean, yeah, even the editor who's like, it's almost done. Perfectly fine in that instance. There's really nothing to glean from that when you get down to it. But it does become dangerous because you could have a discourse where the grifters go, here we are. We're up against the clock and it's not even finished yet. And it's like, dude, it's like the first episodes are all finished. But you see where it's going. No
retreat, no surrender.
And nobody said that. Nobody said that. I'm using that as an example because it's so like fine. It's not a thing. It's innocent. But
I got that. No one said that. But you do know, like in corporations when they like to use like military terms and shit or like boxing terms, you're just like, all right,
right,
yeah,
sure.
Mm-hmm.
One I wanted to talk about this, right here. So when we were doing the stream the other day, I was like, when it comes to Indira Varma, like we know she's good. Like this is one thing I know factually because I heard about a day where we have the reveal. She's not what she seems, kind of thing. I've been told by several people her name is not Tia, as listed in the character listing on there on the Google, whatever the fuck you call it, cast list. But on the official Disney like PR site or whatever, you could get these images from the trailer, and it does confirm that this character over here in the corner is Indira Varma, and she's called Imperial Captain and everything. She does have a name in the show. And they're
interesting spots for red dots on them. Just
yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yeah,
I feel like the survey says, and it's wrong. You know what I mean? Like it just.
It looks like breakfast vest. I see like a slightly sad robot face when I look at the chest. But anyways, what I think that we can throw in here. What we might be able to try to put together, because like I said, I just know that she kind of ends up with them, and she's not what she seems. She defects, and she's like a Finn character. Well, here we have her on Nur with the Inquisitors. So I'm going to throw it out there that Varma must be maybe a spy who then helps them steal Leia out of there and then is with them. Like she must be who helps them because remember I said, I'm like, I don't know how they get into Nur, and not necessarily so much about how they get out other than it results in the first duel between Kenobi and Vader. So I got to think Varma must be a double agent who is a spy. I should say a double agent. I should say a rebel spy. And she must be giving them intel. And then once Leia's taken, this is where she goes and goes. And I thought it would be interesting if she was Tia, if she was an Organa, and they were so foolish as to let an Organa be a high Imperial officer who's then going to steal her niece back. That could have been interesting, but sources have told me that is not the case. But what the fuck do I know? I could always be wrong about any of this stuff. You know what I mean? Anything could be prophecy, misunderstood. Who knows? But I don't believe that she's Tia, for the record. But now I am looking at what I know from behind the scenes and what we see officially here, and I'm getting the vibe that she may be exactly what she is, and that may be how she gets wrapped up. And in stealing Leia, that's when she needs to be relocated. But I was told that when Roken, O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character, takes Leia and Kenobi in, he has another stop first, and we theorized that saving Indira Varma may have been it. But I'm looking at this from a couple of different ways though, because we've seen her on that planet that people think is Tatooine. That's probably Jabiim, but we're not sure. But it's like it has too much lush green in the background here and there. I think to be Tatooine most likely, and so taking those context clues. Perhaps she is working with them on Nur. Maybe they go down to the planet. Maybe that moment from the trailer where we see Kenobi with the probe droid blown up behind him. Maybe that's where they're taking her. maybe they take her token, you know, kind of like in the First Order from episode 9. I'm theorizing here, and take her token
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm theorizing, just to be clear.
Yeah.
But maybe they take her token and use that to get into Nur, take Leia, fight Leia, get Leia back, and then that's after that she's now with the resistance, with the rebellion, if you will, with the partisans after that.
Is that Zori Bliss token thing? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. And was that called
Captain's
a captain's
pass?
token? Because she's
Yeah,
a captain. She's a captain.
Yep.
I think that's
Now,
what,
have
what they
the
call it?
Inquisitors always had the Zuvio hat? I can't remember.
Yeah. Okay. Indira Varma is an Imperial captain. So they are Imperial Captain Indira Varma. So captain's tokens, guys. Just throwing it out there. That's my theory. We'll see if we get anywhere on that.
Indira Varma.
Yeah. If any of our sources say anything, but I think after what we did 2 days ago, everybody's going to be very fucking quiet until the show comes out. just a guess.
Any feedback from that? Any off the record feedback? Any? Yes,
just a guess, I say.
But I imagine.
Yeah, but you guys in the chat could let me know what you think too. I mean, like if you guys have any theories here. I saw these pop up, so I didn't get them. I don't know how you get them. Maybe the official Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi thing just has me on mute, so I don't get them. But especially if you follow Kenobi on Twitter, you would get and you like follow and like what they do. You're supposed to get DMs of these lightsaber pictures, and it's just like, you know, a close up of the saber, right? And you're like, oh yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber. I get that. I got that in my Fortnite. But you know, you get a couple of really good looks at them. This is the shit that I was.
Master of Evil Darth.
Yeah, this is like honestly, these look a lot better than when I saw them over the summer. When I was talking about how, you know, that day I'm like, I saw them all. I don't know how many there are, but it seems like there's a lot of them. But obviously, there's only 3 or 4. But yeah, so this is like the 5th brother saber right here.
Oh yeah, I do have that one. Okay.
Yes, this
Obi-Wan
spins around.
Tron.
Very Tron-like. Revas.
programs.
So I'm guessing Revas doesn't spin, but instead maybe breaks in half so she could dual wield, perhaps.
No, I'm gonna say the other side of the loop just pops out.
I think so. I don't know where it would pop out. I mean, practically,
like, you know, just come
Like butterfly
out.
Yeah. I mean, anything's possible. I wouldn't fight with them about it, but yeah, but they, you know, that's this like half moon design. I like it though. It looks pretty cool.
Excuse me, sir, your lightsaber is not there.
It's pretty good for the main character of the whole show, you know.
Yeah, I know, right?
It does look like it could probably take a part in the middle there.
I have to say,
So
like,
remember when? Hold on, because we got through May 4th there. Remember when the whole like Cal Kestis is at Galaxy's Edge, so May 4th it's gonna be the big blah 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 blah. We're like, no.
Yeah.
Just trying to say, you know.
Well, we
Don't
will
read into those
we
Galaxy's
will get
Edge
into
things too much.
Yeah,
I wanted to get that. You know, that's the one I actually really liked.
Never seen this one before.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of foreshadowing for like some great reveal, like it's just Disney Galaxy's
pretty
Edge
dumb.
promotion. The big reveal is they're selling you a $150 lightsaber at the park. Go.
Woo!
Like,
oh, Dick Saber. Oh.
Sorry. Just somehow.
hey, it's ribbed for your pleasure, bro.
Gotta say, E.T. Yeah, we better watch out, buddy.
When he gets arthritis after so many finger jabs.
Yep, Finger and Dan. And then so here we go. This was set to be. Oh man, I didn't mean to. I lost the person on Twitter. They wrote me on Twitter. I apologize. They tweeted this at me. I did not mean to remove your name. I am sorry. I think his name was Lucas. That doesn't help. But right here, people were, you know, like I said, I saw the footage of this stuff over the summer. There's a hell of a lot more. Ewan McGregor's in it. So like it was never up for debate whether it was legit to me or not. But one of the things that I started to get were people going like the chest plate's wrong. And to me, what stood out was the chest plate was bright. So I thought it was like the Rogue One chest plate. That was more of where my head was. Just for I'm not a costumer or a cosplayer, so this shit's like it's fine detail that I'm interested in, but not things to get hung up on, you know.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
but I believe that this right here more than confirms that it's legit as fuck, because I mean look at the chest plates, and like the lights are
4 different colors.
You know, so, and this is it like in low mode, by the way, but low mode, but just in case
It happens
anybody,
when he turns on max AC.
right? Do we already? Wow, we actually flew through this shit today, but that's good. Okay, so here's the thing that I wanted to talk about. I felt a bit clickbaity after I named the show this, but I don't give a fuck. It is what it is now. This one right here is Ewan McGregor. I made it go fast so we could get it under fair use, and so we get that fair use time. And so his voice is a little pitched up, so it'll make you laugh a little bit. But it's Ewan on Kimmel, and he did Skype it. Remember, I told you guys, I was like, when I saw him, he was when I saw him, he had his mask on while he was driving the car. I don't think he's going to go to Kimmel and where there's COVID infections going around, you know. But and he Skyped in that day, and but here is the clip that we are going to talk about. This is the interesting part. He was fine. He's, you know, a charismatic, funny, nice man. Always good to see him talk. But in terms of what was dropped, barely nothing. But here's what we could glean from it.
Now Star Wars has become, it's the movies, but it's also TV shows, it's computer games, it's novels, it's cartoon books, comics, and all of the storylines have to sort of match up. You can't have some fact in the video game that doesn't match up to the movie.
So, anyways, throwing that out there, I think that's very in Ewan's mind specifically. The video game not matching up is something of note. It's something that they were, when he's an executive producer, so as they were going through it, he was probably like, hey, you know, like, well, what if we did this? And they're like, nope, can't do that. Fallen Order. Can't do that. Fallen Order. But we have so many connections to Fallen Order in this show that I think it's going to sort of almost be taken for granted and overlooked that the real big cameo of the series is the world built in Fallen Order encroaching on our live action Kenobi series. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. Kenobi literally sets foot into that reality that's set up in Fallen Order. Do I think we're going to get Cal Kestis in the show? No. I highly doubt it. It's completely possible. If he does, either he dies or he's one of the very few people to escape. But because I'm under the impression that they land on Jabiim, they bring out they revitalize Kenobi, bring him, sort of heal him after he's burned. And then we end up getting an escape to save Leia, to take her back to Alderaan. And so we end up with Jabiim and all of the partisans. And I almost feel like when he's talking about that stuff, he's really the partisans are what he's seeing brought into this world, and that Jedi Fallen Order world with those Jedis and that underground railroad that they've created, I guess, with Saw and maybe Bail Organa. I think that's
the Kashyyyk. Yeah.
Or I'm just reading way into it.
The thing that throws me off, though, is that, you know, the shot of Nur, right? That temple, like in Fallen Order, you can see Mustafar, the big planet shot, right?
Yeah.
So you know it's a moon of Mustafar. Like, I just feel like that imagery is way more like interesting than just a green sky. You know, like I'm just trying to figure out why the thought is, you know, like are they like going too realistic? Well, realistically, a planet wouldn't be in shot. Like, I hope not.
I wouldn't think so. I just
thought that imagery from the game was fucking dope, because you can tell, oh, there's fucking Mustafar and there's another moon, and you know what I mean? Giant planets in shot always look fucking awesome and set up the fantasy side more than the realistic shit, you know. So
yeah. Yeah,
I'm
I
hoping
would.
it's just a cloudy day. Like maybe it's just one shot that's like that. But.
Well, I've seen not. I can't specifically comment on Nur itself, but I've seen a lot from the show over the last year in different ways, and I think they're really kind of holding back a lot on some of the visual, like the cool stuff in terms of look and feel. At times, like even the stuff I've seen with Darth Vader and being put back together, they could not have shown less than what they did. Like they threw crumbs out on that, and fine, because I mean you do want
Just
to
half
say
an arm.
yeah, just half an arm, but I mean it did the job. So had they shown more, they would have got the same return. So I think that they
Just
actually
enough
did the job.
so I could win the bet. We can all agree that's why they released that trailer.
Yeah,
There you go.
that makes
Put
sense.
in the books.
But yeah, so Jason Pemberfoot is taking a break interacting with the crazies on Twitter. Yeah, I gotta say, not really a good idea to interact with very very many people on Twitter. It's such a double-edged sword because some of you I met on Twitter, and without Twitter I wouldn't know you, and I'm glad that I do. But I gotta say, for every one of you guys, I got about 25 crazies on Twitter. that makes it go.
To be fair,
Lucky man.
I knew the ideal time to make friends was taking advantage of your plight. Like, oh, he's in the down. Like now, if I really show support, we can be friends. Plan successful.
You were always right. I was like trying to find something, and you sent me something, and I was trying to find the link to it. I didn't want to ask you for it again, so I was like searching through messages. I was like, man, me and Rob maybe it's DMing for years, a very long time actually. But
he went back and dug through the comments to see how long this motherfucker's been commenting. But I'm a lurker. I go back a ways.
Goes back a ways, yeah.
Earl of Sandwich.
Oh no. That was never my thing. I thought that place was dog shit.
I know, but I can't help it now. Can't help.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of where we. That's sort of like most of the like news, if you will, of the day, because we're kind of post May 4th. And yeah, so if anybody in the chat has anything that they want to bring up or whatever, by all means, hit us. But they can do, but can they do a lightsaber helicopter? I actually think that we could almost take those as context clues that we won't get that bullshit because they changed them all.
Can I just like to be the dissenting voice on this one? We saw a lightsaber umbrella helicopter thing in Ronin on Star Wars Vision, and that shit looked cool. So it's always down to execution.
Yeah, but the it's spinning around and giving them lift with the force.
Oh, it gives them lift. Okay.
Yeah. You have to see that. Yeah,
Penguin did it in Batman Returns.
Like Penguin, gotta fly, and you're just like, all right, man.
Yeah,
that's a lot of tensile strength on that.
I mean, yeah, there was ways of making it look like a fucking haunting Mary Poppins and stuff, and no, they did not do that.
Yes, and
Bespin Bulletin just sent me a text saying they're fucking cowards not giving us helicopter sabers. I listened to Bob podcast last night while I was doing some stuff.
Hold on, in his most Christian Bale like Wales voice, like no, la-di-da-di fucking da.
I listened to Bespin Bulletin's podcast last night, and it was a lot like playing Fortnite with him when it's just he and I. And I'm hearing him through like a little speaker on my phone while I was just playing video games for a bit. And it was frustrating as hell because I kept wanting to go, you know what, dude? I actually had that happen when I was just tired though. But it was
they should do a mashup with they should do a mashup with the Christian Bale and Tom Cruise.
Let's see. Our Aria send us those 2 photos. 2 amazing that you could show. Yeah, I did show these photos the other day, but I'll throw them up again. just so we could like maybe talk a little bit about the Grand Inquisitor too, because I wouldn't mind. Thank you for the help, Aria, as always. Always appreciate it. Because it's kind of it's a little okay. I'm not going to talk about the other one. Other one we already talked about, but I want to look at the Grand Inquisitor again because he looked like a giant ball sack before. I think that was safe to say. He was, but I like how he looks.
Nice.
I mean, I'm not this time. I'm not being a shill. I swear, you guys. I swear I'm not being a shill this time, you guys.
Sure.
Because I will say, not
You're anti-Inquisitor, bro. Just admit it, anti-Inquisitor.
Well, the other day I praised Deborah Chow's Marty McFly, dark Marty McFly look. I still am going to do it. I don't like the Grand Inquisitor's pants. I mean, I don't like Reva's pants too much. But I gotta say, I think
to be fair,
he looks like he's in Captain Power.
You think so?
No, R.S. Singh had the same stretchy pants in the Phantom Menace. So let's just be honest.
Yeah,
like, this is
but R.S. Singh isn't a featured hero in the series.
She's
a
the new Boba Fett.
Right.
I've been waiting.
Yeah,
I've been waiting.
But I think he looks cool, man. I gotta say, he has like a Cenobite look, and I have to say. So here's one thing I threw this out on Star Wars Santa Show a couple days ago. He doesn't have yellow eyes. That's what people are hung up on. I got pretty hung up on Saw Gerrera not having blue eyes because it was a feature of his people. So I thought that was kind of lame to like just don't make it Saw Gerrera then, make him someone else. But they did. And but this is years before Star Wars Rebels. So safe to say he gets a little bit more pissed off later on, okay? And when he gets pissed off later on, he gets his yellow eyes. He
doesn't need enough beta carotene is the problem.
Let's check out for jaundice, man.
I mean, let's actually be real though. The yellow eyes in the daylight here probably wouldn't work too cool. You really like when they did Anakin in 3D for the 3D release of Revenge of the Sith. They actually digitally constructed Anakin's face and sunk his eyes in digitally, so that way the yellow eyes popped and looked cooler, looked better. They actually looked really good. Actually, truly it did.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
I was thinking the gorilla eyes from Empire. Like when you say sunken, you gotta be. Imagining's not so good, but they added depth so you could see.
They added depth into his eyes. That way the yellow popped more, and it looked very, very fucking creepy. And he didn't look weird.
We really gotta get those 3D Blu-rays for that, man. Seriously.
I know, man.
And then go back and fix the Phantom Menace.
Did the Night Brothers have those eyes like that from the game?
The Night Sisters?
Yeah. Yellow eyes.
I don't remember now. I don't remember.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's like Count Dooku, Palpatine, Anakin. The eyes being yellow is something that like usually is used for dramatic conceit. As the intensity of the scene goes, so does the visual, and that's like how it usually works. The Grand Inquisitor, the problem with Star Wars Rebels is it was sort of lazy with it. And he would just have it when he was taking a shit sometimes, and then he wouldn't have it. He doesn't always have the yellow eyes. But he'd just be like going to the kitchen to get a bowl of cereal, and he'd have yellow eyes because they didn't change the model or something. So it just is what it is.
To be fair though, man, like it's really, have you ever worn those colored contacts? For actors, it's a fucking nightmare, and it's kind of dangerous too. Like, yeah. And so then they got to rotoscope out the eyes. And I imagine if this were a theatrical release, then it might be worth it. But even then, how much, if it's a $300,000 problem to quell one argument on Reddit, you know what I mean? They're not going to do it, unless it was a defining feature of that character, like Darth Maul's eyes, kind of thing. But even then, like when Hayden had those Sith eyes, that was a digital thing that they did, right? He didn't wear the contacts on the Revenge of the Sith.
I don't know.
Because I thought they created that specifically for they created that digitally specifically for the trailer, and then when everyone loved it, they went and re-added it back in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
is what it
I
was.
don't remember if that was fan conjecture at the time, or if it was a real thing. So I'll have to look into that. I'll have to see.
So his
Well, ask
saber-
George. Yes, it's true. Yeah.
Oh,
that's what
George says
happened.
it's true.
So okay, problem
Okay.
So his saber is mounted on his back there, like in a Captain America shield.
Yeah. That's strangely like when it comes to the look of these guys, one of the things about the costume design is it is riffing on what Darth Vader has going on. Like if you take Darth Vader's costume and you remove the fact the life support aspect, I mean even the belt here, like all of it is styled after Darth Vader. He has the gloves are similar to Vader's gloves, although he doesn't have as long fingers of the species, as people have pointed out. But
British poofy pants.
yeah, so on one hand, I kind of dig the costume. On the other hand, I do know what you mean. If it's not shot right, if it's not shown in the right context, such it could look very much like Power
He's a
Rangers,
huge Kylo Ren fan. He's a huge Kylo Ren fan.
But he does look like I mean, to me, he looks like something from Hellraiser. So I kind of
That's the wrapped arms all the way down.
You know, has like a
That's what it reminds me
Cenobite
of.
vibe. Yeah. But I think he looks like a fucking nightmare mostly though. Like when you actually like look at him, I think he looks pretty fucking creepy. So I'm not, not necessarily so much thrown from the fact that he doesn't look like the cartoon version 1-to-1. Because I mean, let's be honest,
like teeth and all that.
Darth Vader
I
doesn't
think
either.
a good comparison here might be when everyone was looking at the shots of Robert Pattinson in that Batman suit.
Yeah.
And then in the context of the film and the way it was shot in the film, no one's bitching now,
Yeah.
So like over analyzing shots that are either in broad daylight, you know what I mean, or not really designed to be dramatic, don't help. Like he could have some real dramatic moments where you're like, oh, that shit fucking looks sick,
Sure.
But
Yeah.
we all agree, like when your first experience with the character is a more artistic interpretation, when you get the less artistic version, you feel like people just feel like they're going backwards a little bit. So I do think Star Wars could benefit from just incorporating a little bit more of those artistic interpretations. I'll say this too. I did some back in 2013. I did these like marker rendering like Star Wars characters stuff for a project that was a fan project online. And I gave everyone these really like Vader. I gave him the really thin sabers. This is before Rebels, right? The Macquarie sabers. And the shit I got from the fan community, the sabers aren't that thin. Blah, 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 blah. A fucking year later, this cartoon comes out, and oh,
It's
fucking
exactly that.
silence, motherfuckers. It's just funny. Like before this cartoon came out, if you change Vader's helmets or proportions, or you change the sabers in any way that wasn't representative of the live action films, you got a lot of hell. And now it's funny that they're giving the live action hell for not looking like the cartoon.
Well, are you going to give Darth Vader hell for not looking like he does in Rebels? Is that what Darth Vader looks like in live action?
Right.
No, it's not, because it's stylized animation. At the end of the day, I am on board though. I can see how they could have brought that design from the cartoon together better in a more one-to-one way that would have worked. Like I can see it in my mind's eye perfectly. But I also look at what they did, and I don't think it's not unlike Darth Vader, and it's not unlike Cad Bane. And
he's cutting weight. He's got a fight coming up, so he's cutting weight.
cutting weight.
Got to get that training.
Yeah, and it's also not unlike. I mean, look at Count Dooku in the Clone Wars. He's a fucking he's a Chad chin. He's a Chad chin for sure. And Christopher Lee, it's pretty normal looking for the most part. You know what I mean? So it's like it's very strange that I don't know. I almost feel like it's a lack. It's like a lack of vocabulary for visual language mentally. I don't know how else to put it, because it does kind of blows my mind in a way what people get hung up on. But then again, they care. So I guess there's something to be said for that. You know what I mean? Like that they care about.
Yeah. There's benefit to when you have texture and then taking texture away is. So I just feel like these shows they're like 50-50. Like sometimes they're filled with texture and sometimes they're not. Like no one really bitched about Boba Fett's armor being perfectly matte after we had that cool fucking scraped up version. You know, well, he fixed it in the show. I'm like, yeah, it looked better the other way.
Yeah.
You know, like it just looked better. Like he's older, so his armor fucking has all those battle scars. He looks like he deserves. Like I've been in war. No one wants a king who shows up in clean clothes. You know, you know, like if you're gonna be a warrior, be a warrior. So there's just I don't know. There's never gonna be consistency to arguments. Sometimes, you know, on a separate note, for the longest time, I'd say from Iron Man through Age of Ultron, a lot of people in the fan community were bitching at the Marvel movies. Why are they so serious? Why don't they go cosmic? Why don't they go cosmic? Everything's so grounded. Everything takes place in New York. And now that Doctor Strange comes out, why is it so cosmic? Whatever happened to the grounded shit? Thor used to be serious. Like, you know, like it's just sometimes you're just gonna fucking argue about the opposite for no good reason.
Exactly.
You know? Now I do think the makeup work on him was better.
Mm-hmm.
I do think like there's a distressing, you know, and I always say with Star Wars, better to go more used universe than less. That's just my personal like take on it, you know.
Right.
So I don't like the giant Imperial symbol on his fucking shoulder though.
Yeah.
Spring
You think
break
some of those guys
96.
get that shit on their butt cheeks? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
got one on my butt. You know, I'm super Empire. Look at me.
Inquisitor's gone wild.
Yeah, but like that, the distressing on his fucking forehead and like, see, that's pretty fucking smooth though, dude. Like, yeah, you can't. That's how the dude's head's built though. Like, what are you supposed to do? You know what, man? Someone's gonna pinch his head in every shot. They're gonna take the time to go through and rotoscope his fucking head. You'll see.
Yeah, I mean what you have going on here though is you have an actor who's been cast because he played the role when they tested him, when he tried out, when they, you know, he sold the scenes. That's the most important thing, I think, at the end of the day. And but you also have people who
dialogue was great.
Yeah, his dialogue was great. And then so people are saying, well, why didn't they get the original actor who was the voice actor, who's, you know, it's Draco Malfoy's dad in Harry Potter. Gotta say, Jason Isaacs. I don't think his head's necessarily any smaller. I don't think you actually would have had a better.
Got a pretty big head.
Yeah. I don't think it would have. I don't think it. So really, what we end up with is that they would have had, if they really wanted to commit to that, they would have had to have gone and they would have had to have made him a CGI character. Is it
right? I'll say this about his eyes though. Those yellow eyes are taking the place of like pupils.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like they do create an extra ounce of like, you know, like the Gamorreans when they don't have any pupils in their eyes, you know.
You guys know where the buffet is out here? Because I'm kind of hungry.
But
dude, he's still Billy Corgan right there though, right? Isn't he? Summer 79.
Tonight!
That's all I see.
Yeah, after he kills Nari, today is the greatest day I've ever known.
It's a cool name for a band, though, man. I do like the
Nari.
Him and Wayne Static from Static X were both in a band together before they all got their the bands that they were in then after.
Yeah. I at the end of the day, the truth is though, this is going to be what defines the Grand Inquisitor. This is how millions of people are going to see him, and so if the performance sells, then the character is going to work. If he's just weak and whatever doesn't really work out, the show's not any good. It's going to come up as a huge mistake. Mm-hmm. But more people are going to see this. Arrows. More people have probably already seen the Grand Inquisitor in the trailers than they've ever seen in Star Wars Rebels. I could be wrong about that. I mean, that might be a little hyperbolic, but I think that will be true. You know, I think I will be right about that. So at the end of the day,
I can tell you at least several people that will never watch Rebels. You know, and it does not because it isn't a cartoon. They're just not interested.
Oh yeah,
You know?
no. I mean, no. Most people, most adults do not watch animated cartoons. It's to their detriment. It's too bad, but it is what it is. You know, I still think David the Gnome was a fantastic show. Holds up. Remember when he died at the end and became a little tree? And it's super creepy of that show because it's about like his last year on Earth before he dies. It's all like David the Gnome. I don't remember what it says. Like he's 100 years old, but they died 101. So the whole time you're like, the clock is ticking.
I gotta be honest. I like OK Go.
OK Go? What, the band?
No, there's this show on Cartoon Network.
Oh. I was a Pete and Pete. I'm still a Pete and Pete man. Pete and Pete's one of the best shows ever made. Best writing I've ever. One of the best written television shows of the 90s. And it's weird. It's on Nickelodeon, but you know, it really holds up. I've been my it's hard to get my kids to watch a full show that doesn't have zip zaps and zooms in it. But I've been showing them all the Pete and Pete shorts, like the 1 minute shorts that they used to play in the ads. And
you go on Harriet the Spy too?
No, I don't go Harriet the Spy. I mean, she, you know, when she becomes when she takes over for Artie's the strongest man in the world, I was a little like, but you know what, Artie, he didn't stay too long. I agreed with it. But Fandom Empire, how's it going, dude? Hey, everyone, I noticed Make put out a video this morning that touched on KOTOR. I can't say for sure, but I think something is coming for KOTOR, not necessarily involving Celebration. So, yeah, what's his name? The leaker NGT on Twitter said that basically KOTOR is coming next year. This is what they're putting out, and which I find kind of fascinating because it sounds like Fallen Order is being pushed into next year. So it looks like next year we may have Fallen Order 2, whatever it's called, and KOTOR. And I personally don't think it's a problem because they're different genres of games. Like if we had like 2 first-person shooters coming out, I'd be like, well, this is kind of a conflict of interest in a way, or not a conflict of interest, but kind of you might pick one or the other. But when you have one that's like a hack and slash fucking platformer where you jump around and do shit, and then you have one where you're playing out an RPG, I think it's.
But they're both exclusive to PS5 at launch, though, right?
They are. They are both. Yeah. Well, we don't know about that. I don't know. Do we know that Fallen Order 2 is exclusive to PS5? I don't remember that now.
I thought Azitru or someone said that. Who was it? Is it Bespin? One of them games said
no,
that.
Fallen Order was on Xbox too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
no, someone said there was an exclusivity at launch, or it might have been no. You know what it was? That it was next gen only. That's what.
Yeah. Next gen only is true.
My bad.
That makes sense.
My bad.
That was a rumor.
You can all calm down now.
Yeah.
Palpitations.
Make sure you please like the video and leave a comment that Rob was wrong. Ignore the fact where he corrected himself. Pause the video.
Chris is running to his computer as you speak.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, so we got we have a couple of weeks left until Obi-Wan Kenobi comes out, which is nice. It's kind of nice to be out of the Book of Boba woods, so to speak, in that way. Like,
yeah.
Did you guys get a chance to watch the gallery yet? The Book of Boba Fett gallery show?
No,
I forgot.
That's okay.
I was thinking about. I saw Doctor Strange yesterday, so I was on that all night. So I will watch it. Dude, man, I don't know what people are complaining about. Like, I thought this shit was
people are complaining. Fun. I don't know.
Yeah, people have complained, but
really?
I mean, critics and shit, right? So I haven't watched a lot, but I thought this shit was fucking cool. It's a totally different movie. I mean, if you've paid attention to the fucking shows, you're gonna get a lot out of it. If you don't, you can follow along. Waldron wrote it, so it's got that crazy Waldron stuff in there,
And how did
like I said, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. How did Raimi do though? Like, does it can you really kind of tell it's Sam Raimi? Can I make it?
You can tell it's Sam Raimi. Yeah. Oh, cool. This is one of those things, man. I heard people complain like, I don't know about the Raiminess. And I don't know. Like, you either want an auteur or you want a studio
Give me the
film.
Raimi.
And I just think it's 50-50 for people when they can see the hand behind the camera, right? Like, my only legitimate gripe is I was like, I could have watched. They said they cut 30 minutes out. I could have watched 30 more minutes. You know, there's some smoothing out that could have been done here and there. That's nitpicky. Yeah. And Danny Elfman is I just don't. He ain't the Elfman we grew up with. So Giacchino I thought was the better composer on the first Doctor Strange. I would have been quite happy to have Giacchino back, you know?
Yeah.
So
Giacchino's like probably the best that we got out there right now, right? I mean,
I'm telling you, he's been up there for me since Medal of Honor 1. I have the CD. Like, I went online and bought it on DreamWorks.com, DreamWorksSKG.com, right? When the shit came out. Like, he's been killing it forever. And his Batman score, come on, man. I mean, like, that dude. But it's one of those things where, like, Delfman goes wherever Raimi goes, you know, kind of thing. So,
yeah.
Whatever. I'd see this shit in 3D if you can. If you like 3D, this shit
We're
is
supposed to go tonight. So.
fucking sick in 3D, dude. It's so fun, man. It's cool. So.
All right. Yeah, I still haven't seen the last Spider-Man movie, so I wasn't sure if I could see it without having seen the last Spider-Man movie. And I didn't like the first one. I couldn't finish it. I thought it was very tedious to me. So I didn't connect with it.
This is a totally different movie than the first Doctor Strange.
Good. Yeah. Should I see the new Spider-Man before I see it? Is it kind of
you don't have
crucial?
No. You don't have to.
No, you don't have to.
You'd really no. They cover it and move on. Like, it's not necessary.
Okay.
To any of it. You're better off watching the WandaVision series if you missed that. Like,
yeah, I loved WandaVision. Yeah. And I loved what Waldron's done overall. So that's where I'm most excited and glad that Star Wars stole him. We have 2 articles to like hit on to in like the last half of the show here. Obi-Wan Kenobi composer.
You go, Waldron. Yeah, really quick. Waldron is writing the Feige script, or he's just doing a script for Lucasfilm?
Yes. No, he's doing the Feige script, and I've heard rumors that he has been asked to touch upon Star Wars television, but I don't know if they moved into anywhere if they got anywhere with that stuff. And I don't think it's gonna be a thing anytime soon.
Before I forget, Darth Dio yesterday asked a question about the Marvel setup versus the Lucasfilm setup, and I can answer a little bit of this, right? Sure. Based on this is in their words, not mine, right? The Marvel Studios book kind of covers how that studio was set up, and it seems to be operating the exact same way now. And that is after Iron Man and the Hulk, they took people who were on freelance. They have a
are you for forever?
No, just for today.
Oh, I mean, like, are you coming back?
See you in the next reality.
No, I'll see you guys next week.
All right, dude. Have a good one, man. Come back when you can. Bye.
Right. So the way Marvel's set up is that people tend to think Kevin Feige runs everything. And I'm like, because he's the head of the studio. And that's how Americans act. But really, it's a triumvirate between 3 people. So you got Kevin Feige, Louis D'Esposito, and Victoria Alonso. And Kevin sort of handles big story stuff. Louis D'Esposito handles production.
Okay.
Right? Production. And then Victoria handles everything after shit's been shot. Visual effects, editing, sound effects. And what they do, and so what happens is they're able to, like, those 3 are able to go through different productions at the different phases and help guide whatever the producer of that film needs. And the producer of that film or show, that producer stays on a project from its conception through to its end. They're not handling multiple projects at the same time. So if you have a producer for, say, Iron Man, Jeremy Hickman or whatever, that dude is like on there from the beginning all the way through. And he's the one on set every day because Kai Feige and Lewis, and they can't be there. They're handling different things. That producer's there facilitating that production. Now, that's a bit different from how I understand Lucasfilm, where they have that, what's that thing called VISP the visual interactive story department or whatever. They're the ones that set up Revenge of the Sith. It's not the story group. There's a separate visual development part at Lucasfilm where they're like, conjure me up some images, and they conjure up all these images of things they'd like to see. And because of the time crunch on Rise of the Sith, Rise of Skywalker, sorry, they were using those images as story beats, you know what I mean? And like trying to like link the story beats, you know what I mean? The visuals
it's not exactly. I mean, it really depends on like that's JJ. Like when JJ Abrams comes in, everybody sort of backs away, and it's like a ship coming into a harbor, a Tetris block going in there. And be like, now this is us. Bad Robot is docked in here, and that changes how they do things. And there's like people think Kathleen Kennedy's like the only producer. What's his name? Jason McGaitlin, I think, is that his name? There's like 3 or 4 different people that are producing.
Yeah, Bam was the producer on Last Jedi, right? That's
well, but that was Ryan's partner. That's Ryan's producer. Yeah. So that's like producer. Ryan's producer at the table, if you will.
The problem
Ram
though with Star Wars is where you have Ram, sorry. So the problem though, and here's the big difference, right, is that Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 would be the same producer, but they're not making Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 back to back. And those are the sequential. Otherwise, those would have to have different producers, which means you would get a different tone no matter what you're doing across. Yeah. And Star Wars is generally all connected in terms of 7, 8, 9. You know what I mean? Now, if the one-offs had a different producer and a different tone, like Solo does and Rogue One does, then not all that makes sense. This is where things get a little weird. They did mention something that I thought was interesting, was that when they were figuring out, they hired a person to figure out the timeline. They on the Marvel side after Hulk, right? And so they were like, we had to like look at what's the closest thing we could look at for a shared cinematic universe, and Star Wars was the first thing they looked at. And they were like trying to define the tone for the MCU, which they sort of said they defined as comedy with stakes. So like you got a guy hanging from a ledge and he's making a joke because he may die, but chances are he could die. So for them, with Star Wars, they said looking at the films, they sort of considered the Battle of Yavin the 0 point for the tone. Like if you take Star Wars, the Battle of Yavin, everything that happens there is like the tone that they sort of felt for Star Wars moving forward that kind of works. So just thought that was an interesting nugget, you know, like that. They really did model a lot of the MCU after Star Wars. And I always felt like the reason why I resonate with these films is that it feels like had Lucas and Spielberg had made a cohesive universe together in the 80s, you know what I mean? Between all their shit somehow, right? Like this would have like been the result. Like it just feels like an extension of Indiana Jones, Star Wars, and all that weird Spielberg, E.T. poltergeist shit, you know, lumped into one, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, hopefully as we see those people from Marvel sort of trickling into Star Wars, and we sort of see, you know, because realistically, as time moves on, they are different departments, but they are part of the same umbrella corporation. Maybe we'll, you know, the what makes Marvel work shouldn't necessarily be shouldn't be a secret to Star Wars, you know. But let's look at this article about the music, because in it, I think it gets into there being like a Stormtrooper theme and stuff that she wrote. Obi-Wan Kenobi composer breaks down her Star Wars sound and reveals cherished John Williams' gift. On the heels of Disney Plus's official trailer, Natalie Holt discusses building new themes for planets and Stormtroopers, and where she falls in the canon of Star Wars composers. So,
man, she's a good composer, man. That Loki fucking score is so good.
It is. Yeah, it
Seriously,
is good.
Dude. Like, I don't know how that show did not win Emmys for everything, dude. The production design on that show, the art direction, the lighting. I mean, it's an insane pack. It's one of those things that 5 years from now they'll go back and go, "You missed out. The show that was really great. No, you passed on." Blah blah blah. You'll hear it, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, she's great.
She says Loki was where I set out my stool, as it were, for people to hear what I do. She tells THR, I think that's what led Lucasfilm to hear about me. Now, on her second major Disney project, the British composer, classically trained violinist, and huge fan of John Williams, will share space in the canon of one of Hollywood's most enduring franchises. And she'll do it alongside the man who is, quote, basically the reason I noticed music in film as a child. She says, John signed the Obi-Wan theme for me. I've got a printed Obi theme that he recorded, and I've had it framed, she told THR excitedly. It's my pride and joy. I'm super happy to have his signature because he's literally my hero. So that, and then this is what I find this interesting. The two didn't directly collaborate for the show, but Holt says his work on the series' main character theme helped give her the foundation she needed to musically access one of the TV's most anticipated 2022 series. The most difficult thing was finding my access point. What was my take on Star Wars? Because it's getting my head around it, feeling a bit frozen with the enormity of it, she says. I kind of said that before. It sounds like it was a very anxiety, a lot of anxiety in taking a project like Star Wars for her, you know? They go on to ask, both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Loki are shows about hero types whose stories are tethered to space. How did you approach them differently? She says, Loki required a certain lightness of touch, shall we say. It was more comedic in places, and was also just a wacky journey through time and space. I was using a lot of different palettes of color in that weren't appropriate for Obi-Wan Kenobi because it's more of a serious tone. For me as a violinist and as someone who's a lover of big orchestral sounds, it was a chance to pay homage to John Williams. It's kind of a collaboration with the history of Star Wars and his new theme, and then also bringing a bit of modernity to it. There are some new elements in there. I guess it's my take on orchestral and emotional. I really got some lovely violin solos in there from James Ines. It was pushing the forces of what I had been allowed to work with because of the scale of the drama as well. So it does. I mean, from what she's saying, it does not sound like it's going to have too many echoes of what she did on Loki, and that's not bad though, because I mean, what she did on Loki is what she did on Loki, and
is that her? Is that her stuff in the official trailer?
Like, that's what I wasn't sure about, because on the official trailer, like I did not dislike it, but I also am very neutral towards it.
It wasn't standing out, if that makes sense, right? I mean, it was cool though. It just wasn't like
if that's what it is, it's going to be completely effective. You know what I mean? Like at doing what it needs to like do. But I also kind of wish that they were throwing the new John Williams theme in those trailers too. Like that would have been nice, to be able to hear it. So she says there's a long history of Star Wars composers. Where within the timeline of that sliding scale of experiences do you think your work falls? And she says, I probably had a more similar journey to John Powell or Michael Giacchino in the world of my Star Wars experience, because it was steeped in the historical heritage characters, whereas Lugwood had a kind of new landscape to work with, so he was able to carve out a bit more. He managed to set out his musical tone with what he was doing in The Mandalorian, just a bit more away from the canon. Yeah. Is that the right canon? I can't remember. Powell had a theme written by John Williams, who wrote a theme for Han Solo movie as well. And I don't think it's memorable, to be honest with you. I don't think it's one of John Williams' worst Star Wars themes. And so I hope that's what I'm kind of afraid that we're getting here. I hope we're getting something very good. It's John Williams, so you'd be an idiot to underestimate him based off of not connecting with one piece of music. So I'm not going there, but I hope we don't go there again. I got to meet him actually at the SCL Awards, and it was great. It was great just to have a bit of camaraderie. He said, you get a Star Wars job, and it's this thing that you've grown up with as a kid, and John Williams is John Williams. So it's overwhelming, and it takes you a hot minute just to get your head around it. And so once again, her saying like, wow, she was pretty floored by getting the job. And Deborah Chow as well said that about finding the tone and the balance of Star Wars that we've known, and then doing something fresh and a bit more of your identity. So yeah, nothing there. How long did you think it would take you to get your head around it musically? That felt like it took, I would say it was like episode 4 where I felt like, oh, it's just flowing now. I was getting it and it was just flowing out. And Deborah was like, yep, great. Hardly any notes back. Before that, she was like, you've gone too old fashioned, or no, this isn't for us. Luckily, Deborah was very clear on what wasn't appropriate in this area. So that's actually really good. I got to say, it's, and I kind of appreciate how candid she's being with the process here, because that's real. And so just being like, we were all a family. We were playing guitar on set every night. When you're jumping on a project, it's really
Rob
important.
Rodriguez is like, hey.
Yeah, I love seeing those moments in that Book of Boba Fett gallery thing, but that doesn't really say much, about what they're doing. When you're jumping on a project, it's really important to have someone leading in that way, and she was great. Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm, as well. Everyone sort of has this overview that you don't have because you're like a rabbit in the headlights working on the show, and they've kind of gone through that. Deborah said everyone has this moment where they're like, oh, well, I'm working on Star Wars. The writers, like all departments, it takes everyone a minute to get used to the idea of it, and then they find their way. So I kind of need a cough here. I need a little bit of water and a little verklempt. But on projects like Marvel, blah, 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 you can also be themed. Blah, blah. Yeah, she said, I did a suite for Loki where I had the Mobius and the TVA theme and the King theme. So yeah, you have your hero theme and you branch out from there. From that, obviously, John Williams has written the Obi theme, but I didn't start off trying to write one, to be honest. I was writing from Deborah's instructions, and it was interesting. She was like, "Here, he's in the desert. He's lost. He's been alone." It's like anything for this theme would just be small, crumbling, fragmented, and thin. Yeah, the trailer does the Duel of the Fates sad piano little thing there, and I can see that being used well in a show because it's small then to big, but I really wasn't kind of not a fan of one note sad piano stuff anymore. It kind of played out, so I hope there's not a lot of that, but we'll see how it works. Anyways, then it would grow as he goes on his journey. So I like that. It sort of snowballs, this like snowball idea. She goes on to say, that was kind of interesting seeing the place that I had arrived at. As for the world and its environment, obviously there's a lot of different characters in the show. And I did also write music themes for planets. And so Nur probably has one. Jabiim. In addition, there is a Stormtrooper theme. So right here, we got it confirmed. The Stormtroopers get a theme. That's all I can say right now. It's like every note misses. It's like everything is just a miss.
I'll dig it up. I know what they should use since they got old Johnny William.
Did you have a chance to work?
The Otis theme from Superman, dude.
We can't play it. We'll get flagged. But yeah, look up the Otis theme from Superman. Maybe I think when Stormtroopers die, they go to live in Otisburg. Did you have a chance to work directly with Williams for this? We didn't collaborate, but I did get to use his theme. We didn't have very long, and it was quite last minute whether he'd have time or not. But he really wanted to write that theme because he was the one character that didn't write the theme for the original movie. He was the one that he didn't write the theme. So basically, yeah, they're kind of. I think this is a bit incorrect. The Force theme was Obi-Wan's theme, but whatever. So I think he had this feeling that he wanted to complete the challenge. I think he had 2 weeks, and he came out on board and wrote the Obi-Wan theme and a suite. So there we go. I knew he would do it. Didn't I say that? I was saying that the whole time. And I think that a suite, it's fucking Princess Leia. I bet you I bet you Princess Leia that's where it comes in, which is the main title, and then a few variations of how the Obi theme can work. And that was what we had to give the project, and it was just a gift. It's so perfect in a way. Once I had the Obi theme, it set the tent poles for the project. So that's cool. Because this galaxy you're scoring doesn't really exist, but you've also had this historical canon of sound for the universe. How were you thinking about Obi-Wan instrumentally? I think she's just going to talk about the 250 different instruments and violins again. What was the biggest challenge scoring the series? Yeah, she got the job. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a TV series entry versus a movie one. You've scored for both film and TV projects. Is there a difference? I guess I would have been more time. I guess there would have been more time if Obi-Wan had been a film. I don't actually know, but the resources are certainly there. The orchestral recordings, percussion recordings, it's all live. I didn't have to compromise on one being live, so that's good. So basically, they're getting into, they didn't seem to compromise on it, and that's good, because if we have John Williams writing something, you really don't want to hear the John Williams things, in MIDI, right? You know what I mean? Even really good MIDI. I mean,
well, I don't know. That was my experience on the internet from 95 to 99 was everything was MIDI. Right?
Well, when you're watching Mandalorian and shit like that, and you're hearing those orchestral moments, most of that shit's MIDI today.
Right.
Yeah, it's not bad. It just doesn't. Oh God, there's a song I'm drawing a blank on its name. Saint Vincent does a song where she makes the song get bigger by adding an orchestration in MIDI, and you're like, wow, it got bigger. But by the third verse, she uses a real orchestra, and it gets even fucking. And then you hear it's like a really good example of the difference between a MIDI orchestration and a real one. But it's really fucking good.
Although they did a pretty good job on Toto's Rosanna, getting me to think that's a real orchestra back then.
Rosanna,
Kenobi, do do do. Obi-Wan Kenobi, yeah, like that one.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So and here we go. Hold on. But then there was another article that came out, and this one right here, from Wired. So it's a little bit of a clickbaity troll piece, in my opinion. I don't know. So
ain't what it used to be.
Star Wars ain't what it used to be. It's so folksy. Another May 4th rolls around with the franchise feeling more like it's on autopilot than hyperdrive.
Wait till they learn about light speed skipping.
The Monitor is a weekly column devoted to everything happening in the wired world of culture, from movies to memes, TV to Twitter. On this year's May 4th, hey, get the fuck out of here. On this year's May 4th, like clockwork, a new piece of Star Wars news dropped, a trailer for the forthcoming Disney Plus Obi-Wan Kenobi. Previous Star Wars Day announcements have included that Thor Ragnarok director Taika Waititi would be co-writing and helming a future Star Wars movie, and that General Mills would be releasing a Baby Yoda cereal. It's also a day for all kinds of fan actions like
Captain Crunch cereal,
doing cosplay and holding movie marathons. But over the years, the holiday has begun to feel more and more like a marketing stunt. What's next? Is Christmas not going to be about Christ?
Next thing you know, they're going to claim that the toys are just there to make movies. Or the movies are just there to make toys. Well, one of that. Pick your order.
Guys, do you guys remember when May 4th was for you and not a sellout thing? A former grassroots fan holiday that's been turned into a news peg for a trailer for a show.
Ever since these liberals took over May 4th.
I'm sorry, but you seem like a fucking idiot right now if you're saying that people are not excited for the Kenobi series. The trailer numbers
next thing you know,
tell a very different story.
May the 4th is going to have a sex tape out. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
It used to be.
And Star Wars, I mean, it's almost like this person doesn't realize that there's a difference between television shows and film, and that if there's not all this fare around it, but also I'm sorry, but May 4th has been proliferated on the back of them pretending that being a geek is an identity. It's not. It never has
since
been.
Celebration, right?
No, I mean,
started?
no. Think of Think Geek. Oh, guys, I got my Game of Thrones shirt on. I'm a geek, you guys. You guys don't get me. It's like, fuck you.
Right.
It just became sports for fucking people that don't follow sports. And with that came the rise of May 4th. It was an excuse for blogs to make ad revenue off of fucking stupid fucking arts and crafts that nobody gives a fuck about. Look at that. I'm going to do that. Nope, no, you're not. And then, or it became, like I said, a t-shirt coupon code day. And it, you know what I mean? It's just, it drives me crazy that we're gonna fucking do a Fox News equivalent of Star Wars and Christmas. I mean, that's literally what this starts off as, and it's so fucking annoying. Before we continue, a moment of clarity. Yes, Wired participates in May 4th as much as any media organization, and has as far back as I can remember. Big whoop-de fucking do.
Ads.
Also, yeah, there have been people out there who are much more excited about Obi-Wan than my feeds indicate. Yeah, it doesn't matter because who you follow is irrelevant. That's your fucking bubble. I'm just saying, like
it literally shows you more of what you like. The algorithm only shows you more of what you like. So
yeah. Well, no, like I am not plussed about Book of Boba Fett. But the numbers don't fucking necessarily lie. Unless you believe they're lying about numbers, it doesn't mean what you think it means. It means that your friends are snobby, as are mine. But my broader point is that since The Mandalorian, maybe ever since Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker, the future of the franchise has felt like watching the Millennium Falcon go into hyperdrive. Lots of bright lights and actions, but hard to see where it's going. Because once episode 9 came out, it took a break. Like, that's what's dumb. Like the stuff that
also
you're talking
COVID.
about.
Hey, there's something else too, man, with this whole
COVID's
thing. Like, I watch shows like Campy and them, dude. They're fine, man. They're fun to watch.
Sure.
But like, they keep talking about this shit. How like, studios need to remember if you release things theatrically, they make money. I'm like, were we pretending there wasn't just there's a fucking pandemic? Like, everything was shut down for a year and a half. You know, like. People just didn't decide to put everything on Disney Plus. Like,
I went to the I went to my kids' open house this week, and we were the only family wearing masks. People were looking at us like we were assholes, and I'm like, this pandemic isn't done, but the world is. I was the only one wearing
a mask last night.
Yeah, the world. What I'm trying to say is to pretend like it's over.
The movie studios didn't collude to put all their shit on streaming sites and stop putting it in theaters. Literally, Disney just made the highest grossing box office it had ever made in 2019. You know why? Well, they just throw that away for what are we talking about here? Like,
I do actually think that Star Wars was going to take a break and return in 2022, 2023, even with the pandemic. I think that they were going to parlay Star Wars into building up Disney Plus. Because that's a market share that once you have forever. This isn't going away, and so I do think that they had oversaturated the market with around the time of Last Jedi into Solo. So I think that they were looking to take a break, but to go and then go like, oh well, it's different now. Well, yeah, it's because.
But Mando season 1 came out right before Rise of Skywalker. Mm-hmm. Mando season 1, and then Rise of Skywalker came right out. Like, were we forgetting that timeline?
Yeah,
like
so it's like Star Wars is in a bit of a lull. It's like you're stating the fucking obvious there, but that was by design. Following the
tell that to all the Grogu merchandise. Tell me how much of a lull it's really in. I have a $300 ship over there that's reselling for $1,000 on eBay right now. It's not in a lull.
Following the breakout success of The Mandalorian, Lucasfilm has released a series of spin-off series, each receiving about the same level of enthusiasm. Also not true. Book of Boba Fett, which is not my favorite, did a hell of. The Bad Batch was good. The Bad Batch doesn't even fucking count. God, everything about this is annoying me. Though maybe it lacked the crossover appeal of Mando because it's an animated series. The Book of Boba Fett, essentially about one of the Fandom's most beloved characters, was fine. I agree with that. And now there's Obi-Wan, which is once again resurrecting a beloved character, but resurrecting the version of him played by Ewan McGregor. Oh, what are we supposed to do? Fucking dig up Alec Guinness, you fucking weirdo? Let's fucking take Alligator's fucking
Played him
bones,
in three
stick our
fucking
hand up his
films.
asshole and start puppeting him. Oh, hello there. Come on. That doesn't make any sense.
Plus, he played him in 3 films like 20 years ago.
Well, plus he didn't want to play him the other 2 times he did. So I don't think CGIing him would actually be appropriate. Because I don't think he would want that. It could truly go either way, even though the trailer does indicate most cinematic thrills and Darth Vader moments than previous series had. The Rise of Skywalker came out nearly 3 years ago, and the next feature film, ostensibly director Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron, isn't coming out until December 2023. No, it's not. And even that date is a bit of a question mark. I agree. In the meantime, everything Star Wars just feels like it's on autopilot. There's also something.
It's autopilot not being made or being made. Which is it?
Yeah. There's also something to be said for the fact that all of these sort of ho-hum releases have come during much different times than previous ones did. So they're kind of getting into it. Rise of Skywalker ended up having a kind of a whimper for the more recent trilogy of movies to end on, but it also happened in December 2019, just months before COVID-19 hit. So at least she does acknowledge that there. In the intervening years, there's been the 2020 U.S. presidential election, Black Lives Matter protests, a war in Ukraine, and countless other massively impactful events. I agree there too. It does feel like a whole different world, doesn't it? Yeah. While the franchise may have served as a distraction at times, it also has seemed far less attention-worthy than the chaos of the real world. If you're an adult, if you're a child, maybe not. I don't know. I'm curious about that. During a week in which a leaked draft opinion suggests that U.S. Supreme Court could vote to overturn Roe versus Wade, an Obi-Wan trailer doesn't feel that impactful. But once again, that's us being adults, isn't it? Star Wars has persisted in all sorts of socio-political climates. Actually, it really came after the most turbulent times, though, and really came in at during the height
gas
of the Cold
crisis,
War,
Vietnam, the assassination of multiple political figures. You know what I mean?
But it came after a lot of upheaval, and then you could
Nixon.
Not believe it, but the sociological side of it is always said, and that's why it was successful. So does Star Wars and Marvel, does escapism have more power during these times, truthfully? Or does it not let adults, like the author of this piece, connect with it? I think that's something worth asking, and worth ruminating on. But the question is, will it come back? It's always been here. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, it's, in terms of Force Awakens, if you need Force Awakens, I think Force Awakens times will never come back. Disney has invested billions of dollars, just like Episode 1 and Force Awakens, 2 moments in history you can only get by literally cutting off the supply of Star Wars for decades or a decade, and then that's the only way. Disney has invested billions of dollars into Lucasfilm with the expectation that it will be a content machine for years to come. And Disney got its billions of dollars investment back already. Think about that. To that end, there's Andor about Diego Luna's Rogue One standout casting Andor, set to release later this year, along with a second season of The Bad Batch. There's also a Lando Calrissian show allegedly in the works. That's not allegedly, that's announced. And more Mandalorian coming, as well as 2 spinoffs of that show, one featuring Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka Tano, which is filming pretty much now, in the next week. But those projects are just spinoffs from already existing stories in the Star Wars universe. Well, are you going to hold that against Marvel? Every time Marvel does a show, is Marvel supposed to create new superheroes every single time? This is sort of I think a methodological fallacy, don't you? I mean, am I wrong there? It's not bad to have new things, but why would you go and start from scratch every time when you don't have to? But also in the process of that, you create new characters. So that's the I think maybe even one of the big differences between Star Wars and Marvel, maybe even one of the bonuses of Star Wars over Marvel, is that when it does decide to do its Doctor Strange or its Obi-Wan Kenobi, it has to create our O'Shea Jackson Jr. You know what I mean? Our new characters who may go on, like Diego Luna, but you don't really see that too much in the Marvel shows. Everything is something that's been pre-established and reformatted. So I think that's a bit of a dumb way of looking at it. But the true test of Star Wars' future will be whether any post-Skywalker saga stories can take off. We have already seen that, though, with The Mandalorian.
I can't. This is just what this is I don't resonate with the thing that I grew up with anymore, so no one does.
Yeah.
You know, like no, you may have moved on. Let me explain something to you. I moved on from Star Wars literally the night after Attack of the Clones. Like I was like, I'm pretty much doing. They didn't get one dime from me from 2002 to 2015, bro. Like the next time Lucas got a fucking penny from this guy right here was for my ticket to The Force Awakens. I didn't pay for fucking Revenge of the Sith. I didn't pay for the fucking CDs. I didn't buy none of it. You know, someone wanted to give it to me, fine, but I was not paying for nothing.
And
so
now
like,
we have
you
2
can
hours
come
every
back.
day. Ha ha!
So
win.
it took them 17 years to gain my fucking attention. Yeah, now look at where I am right here. Look, sometimes you move on, you find some other shit to do, but to sit there and say that The Mandalorian hasn't had as big a I'm telling you, man, that fucking little Yoda dude, like that show, the biggest mistake is doing a season 3. They should just be making the fucking movie right now. The movie, the Mando movie that wraps up all this shit on a Mandalore should be the movie releasing next Christmas.
They should have had the movie be where Grogu and Mando get back together. That's really where it should have happened.
They reunite in the movie, and then that's what's driving me. That's the $2 billion Star Wars. Like, what are you doing?
Well,
why put that in Boba Fett?
How about we get the lady who made Wonder Woman 1984 and have her do a Wedge Antilles story?
Have her do what? Look, may very well be. I do not know, but I'm sorry. I don't see them topping Top Gun Maverick, bro. I just watched the new trailer in the theater and super fucking size. Having them in jets physically flying around and shit, like the cast was flying their own F-18s. It has a look and it has a feeling that does not feel like I'm in a spaceship behind a blue screen. You know, like you can feel the weight in those shots. So it's like, you're going to compete with that? I would go to Disney Plus with this Rogue Squadron shit. I don't know if I'd be competing with that. Like
it's weird that this article also says, so does word that slight filmmaker J.D. Dillard will make a feature. It's weird that they dropped the J.D. Dillard thing that was just in the trades and never confirmed, to the best of my knowledge, but then throw doubt on the Lando series, which is actually happening. Marvel honcho Kevin Feige is also maybe switching hats to helm a Star Wars movie, but then there's Last Director Rian Johnson's trilogy, which was announced years ago, but has been quiet in the years since.
He's literally writing and directing his own procedural detective series right now on Apple or Peacock. Sorry, Peacock.
Yeah, we'll see if it. Well, I think it's I think there's potential of it happening, but there's potential for the Rian Johnson thing to happen as long as Kathleen Kennedy's there. When she leaves and the guard changes, then I think that's where it becomes like, well, will it? You know, but I don't blame him for not wanting to do Star Wars. Game of Thrones showrunners David Benioff and D.B. Weiss were also slated to have their own trilogy, but exited the project in 2019. Yeah, they exited it for $100 million each, something like that. So what gives? Yeah, Obi-Wan could be great, and Jenkins' movie could be the start of a whole new Star Wars renaissance. Or they could all fail, leaving their franchise. Oh, you don't say. You gave 2 possible outcomes that are it's going to be successful or it's going to fail. But most likely nothing spectacular. No genre shape-shifting epic or epic flame-out will happen, and Star Wars will just keep puttering along like a malfunctioning droid in the Tatooine desert. There may be the most disappointing ending of all. I think this piece is fucking stupid. I have to say, it's fucking stupid. It doesn't offend me that it
Obi-Wan trailer runs and gets 75 million fucking views and like no fucking time.
Yeah, if you wanted to do this article, you needed to say Star Wars fans are feeding a machine that is not feeding its fans back as well as it could. That Star Wars fans are celebrating mediocrity. That would be a fair thing, like with Boba Fett. That would be a fairer way, I think, of going at it. Or but to go and like obviously that person was just looking at their fucking Twitter feed that day, and I get it though. I understand. But
let's be fair.
Like I can understand
Boba Fett is
mediocre
compared to 2 seasons of the Mando. Like, we're not comparing Boba Fett to The Last Jedi. We're not comparing Boba Fett to Empire Strikes Back. We're comparing it to the last time he showed up in a TV series the year before. Like, that's what we're comparing. So the Mando's so fucking good. I don't know, man. Like, these people, like, It got me here. I'm telling you right now, Jason, had the Mando never come out, I would never, ever, ever fucking be on the show talking to you. You know?
Sure.
I'd be watching your show. Like that shit sparked my imagination. Like,
but I don't like if I was a woman living in a red state, I could definitely see how the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer doesn't seem that important to me right now, because it kind of shouldn't be.
They're not the same thing.
About
escapism is not the same as real world political if issues that have ramifications upon, at least 50% of the population. That this is escapism. It's two different things.
No, but I think that it like this person is looking at it like they're taking away my constitutional rights, and so I don't. But the Star Wars trailer wasn't so good that I care more about the Star Wars trailer. I don't think there's a Star Wars trailer that could make you care as much. I don't think that you should. It's very weird. I don't know if this piece was just fucked up by an editor who kept saying what abouting this person into oblivion, but whatever. But it's pretty dumb. I definitely am not that excited about reading a piece from Wired again. Rob says, Junkbox says, Rob complains about people complaining about not liking the route the creators took, but won't watch the Clone Wars. Laugh out loud.
I told you why I won't watch the Clone Wars. I didn't say the Clone Wars is junk. I don't say the Clone Wars sucks. I'm telling you, I don't want to watch something that should have existed in 3 fucking films. I'm not doing it. It's my personal. What's the when you put a stake in the ground and you're like, I'm standing right by this. Like, I'm not watching this shit. And to be fair, I actually agreed to watch it when I worked on the Clone Wars t-shirts, and Lucasfilm told me don't. So, that was well, now I don't have to. That was the time I would have watched everything.
Rob, Lucasfilm's wrong. Watch it.
No.
J-Max says,
no.
Before they were canonically named, the Star Wars men had names like Walrus Man, Squid Head, Prune Face, etc. Thus, we held Lamb Head. Now, Dick Fingers is the only possible canon name for Figrin Dion.
Oscar Myers.
Figrin Don. I don't know how you say his name. But yeah,
Dick
Fingers. Kielbasa.
You say that, but I just think of Everything Everywhere where they have the hot dog hands. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. They have hot dog hands.
Digits of kielbasa. But yeah, but we had a pretty good Star Wars week. I also the numbers. I don't know. I'm gonna see if I could pull it up really quickly. The Obi-Wan trailer, right? When I looked last time, when it came up the other day, it was up on like IGN and all that shit too. Like they all had it up. And those trailers had millions of views when I was looking at them. Like one of the times I searched for it. Oops, I don't want to watch it. Right now, it's going to hit 8 million probably over the weekend right now. So right now the trailer is gotten pretty close to more views than the Book of Boba Fett trailer had, which I think was around 12. And where I'm going with this is that I remember like the peak time, I think we were looking around 16 million views for like the Rise of Skywalker trailers and shit like that. I could be wrong about. Well, hold on, I'd have to see. Hold on, wait. Rise of Skywalker. Let's see how the numbers look compared to the article, because I want to be fair. I shit all over it. You know what I mean? But like this has had years to get this many views too, so we don't really know. It's loading up for me right now. It takes the sweet ass time when I'm streaming, of course. But so right now, Rise of Skywalker had 48 million views. That's over its life, and we know that this one's gonna have like at least 12 million. So we'll have to see like how many it gets, but I'm gonna say if it gets like 20 million views on that trailer, that's pretty fucking good for a Disney Plus series compared to Rise of Skywalker, where that trailer was pushed to people like fucking mad, And also, they kind of like distribute the trailer out. They give it out as a press release, so it's sort of not the best metric, but it is a metric that we can use just to generally get a vibe, I think. So let's keep our eye on the Kenobi stuff and see where it ends up. You know, does it end up going? And also once it comes out too, it kind of sucks that we can't see the actual numbers. I don't know if I trust, but I also will say I don't know if I trust Disney's numbers or how they account for their numbers on those shows. It's kind of a hard one.
Netflix is being sued right now by their shareholders for rigging numbers.
Are they actually being sued by shareholders?
Yeah, for the rigging the subscriber numbers and the growth that they had claimed that they don't have.
Yeah, because a few weeks ago we were talking about how the creatives were dealing with them using fudging numbers to them to like pay them less or as for bargaining chips, whatever they wanted, you know.
Right.
They would give them different sets of data. So it sounds like somebody at Netflix might be going to jail. Probably not. White collar crime.
Not in this economy.
Yeah, white collar criminals tend to get away with it, don't they? Unless it's like the IRS.
Code Avatar. Not in this economy.
Not in this economy.
Nope.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyways, we dealt with all the Star Wars news. I think we're going to call this one a show at an hour 35. I think that's pretty good. I think we gave it to you guys. And we'll be back on Monday as we start to talk about the ramp up towards Kenobi. I think we're going to start seeing things kind of coming out more, you know, a little bit more. I think we'll have a slow drip of things to like cover. And there are things that I've seen that haven't hit yet. And so I imagine they will any day now. So I was kind of hoping today we were going to get one during the show, but apparently we didn't. So, but we'll be back Monday, like I said. And if anything happens, I will jump back on because it's what I do. It's what I like to do.
Me, so.
This guy,
just
maybe not.
I'll be too busy watching Clone Wars.
Dude. And
I'm not going to do it now. You know,
well,
no, I'm not going to do it. You know, like it's not an inconsistency. Here's my thing. I'm all for if something's screwed up, going back and fixing it. It's just that Clone Wars cartoon hit me in the wrong fucking place, you know? And that movie didn't help. And then they're like, well, 3 seasons later, I'm like, how many episodes? Look, when Marvel puts out a 6-episode series and someone tells me the first episode wasn't good enough for them to ever watch it, but then Star Wars fans also tell me I have to sit through 3 seasons of a cartoon before it gets better, it's a problem. It's a problem.
I did say that. I didn't say that. See, I never said it takes 3 seasons until it gets better. I said it takes 3 seasons until it hits its stride, and that's actually it continually gets better. And once you hit season 3,
22
3.5
episode seasons. That's
but
40 episodes. Like,
no. You're not either not understanding or being a little hyperbolic. I promise.
Probably both.
It's when you get to the 3rd season is when you start to. It's an anthology show, so you can start watching it at any point almost. You start watching it from any arc. There is no advantage to watching it in any order is the truth of it. But I would say once you start season 3, that's where it does start to like matter. The first 2 seasons are just random Clone Wars stories. It barely matters which order you watch them. If you ever saw the movie, you know what Ahsoka is. You get it. You don't need to like do it again. You know what I mean? And right. And I'm with you. I mean, I don't think it was a good idea to release the movie in the way that they did. That was a WB push, and they had to do it to get.
Here's the other thing. The other thing that gets me about it is I really liked the 2D Gendy cartoon. I admit Dirge was not the greatest character ever, but I loved watching it. It was a 2D cartoon. I liked the little mini stories, wish they were longer, but I enjoyed it. I really thought the thing they did with the Grievous, right? The prequel that led up to the Palpatine stuff and that whole standoff. I was like, all this shit is dope. I really enjoyed it. And then when I went and saw Revenge of the Sith, when my buddy paid, and I saw Grievous not acting anything like that character, it's another shot in the fucking... I shot myself in the foot when I was drawing Clone Wars stuff at the time, and Dark Horse editors were like, would you be willing to work on this comic if you drew in this cartoon? And I was so pissed off. This is 2 years after Revenge of the Sith. I was like, no fucking way I'm drawing in any other style for this stupid that they're like, well, no job for Rob. Like, I'll say this. I put my fucking, I stick to my guns on some shit, right? I'm willing to be talked down off a ledge, but at least I mean what I say. It's not some weird fucking talking point I have.
Oh, I know that.
Legitimately, like backed out of projects because I'm like, no, I don't agree with where they did with it. Same with this. If someone said, Rob, would you like to do the adaptation for Rise of Skywalker? I'm like, no fucking way. I don't care. I mean, even if it were $100,000 a year, I'd be just sitting here banging my head against a wall every day, drawing fucking weird chimps, soldering on Kylo Ren's fucking face and shit.
Now you're sounding stupid to me because that sounds fucking cool.
Yeah.
It sounds like the only cool thing, the coolest thing that.
Then you draw it. You know what I mean?
I'll do it, but nobody's gonna want to see it.
I just don't want to do it.
No.
So whatever.
No, but I mean, like what you end up getting are mini Star Wars movies made by George Lucas, given over to anime directors and great directors, and there's a lot of really good stuff in there. There really is, and there's
maybe
stuff better
someday.
than some of the Star Wars movies, but at the same time, there are throwaway episodes in there. There are episodes that just didn't work. Sometimes they would do this thing where they would hold a shit episode and release it the next season as filler when they needed an episode count, and one wasn't done in time, and then you would get those. It definitely happened. Like the Cat and Mouse is one episode, I would say.
But I don't think it's inconsistent. I don't think it's inconsistent to say that, because my point is this: even with a failure, right? If the property is strong enough and there's imagination out there to do something with it, I think you should be making more of it. Like, I really do. Like, they got to make something. Like, I'd rather they make this than fucking He-Man, dude. Like, sorry. Like, I just would. I'd rather they make Star Wars than He-Man any day of the week.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even a hard fucking sell for Rob. It's so, like, it's just I don't understand. Like, you can say, I think creators should be empowered to make just choices, and if they fuck up, go learn from it. The question is, are they learning from it? I believe what you said with the Clone Wars, that they learned from things that didn't work, right? Yeah. On the movie side, I've yet to see that happen. On the live action movie side, them really learn from what worked and didn't. What worked in The Last Jedi, they didn't carry over into the next film. They took what worked from The Last Jedi and were like, nope, that's out the fucking window. Like, so.
Well, but that's because of different that's because J.J. Abrams was the writer director. Like when we say we need to contextualize who they are. And in that one, it's J.J. Abrams just being like, no, I'm going to do this now. And them going, okay, so the problem with that is that if they did learn, they still told J.J. Abrams, okay.
That's the problem.
Okay. Yeah.
They should have been like, yeah, we learned that mistake, JJ. We're not doing that again.
Yeah.
What else you got? But they made the movie in like fucking 2 years with no script. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. They were writing a lot of it on. There's like, there's always a push. There's never enough time to get that done. I could understand where they were coming from when they thought that if they can do it. But at the end of the day, it was a shockmaster. It was a shock.
I told you. Oh, God.
That's what happens. Sometimes you're ready to come out. Sometimes you're not. And that one was not ready to come out. So anyways,
he's built like the original Jabba the Hutt, the one that was cut from the film, but he has the glittery helmet.
Did you ever watch the clip of Size Noodles doing Anything Goes?
No.
Fucking hell, man. It's so good.
We should do a reaction video to that.
She does Anything Goes in Hut Tease, and the directing on it, I'm gonna say, is fucking stellar. It is. But anyways, I think we could probably get away with that on the show. So one of these days we'll do it.
We could do a reaction where we just say we're clicking on it and then just
or we could just record it before the show and then we could upload it as its own video. All right, everyone, we're seriously leaving this time. Bye.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.